Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to this webinar. We're very excited to talk about this topic, HR chatbots, Microsoft Teams, how they work together. We have run a quick poll, and we really see that we have a lot of people who are interested to deploy HR chatbot these days. And what's interesting as well that what papers we're expecting, we kind of today the results are showing different different interest. So today 50% of people who we have surveyed said that we want to implement a chatbot to handle more requests. So previously chatbots were to improve employee experience, maybe to cut on cost. But today, with what we are experiencing, the flow and the volume of HR requests is dramatically and drastically increased, and this is why everyone is looking to implement a chatbot to handle more requests. So with that, we want to start the webinar. So just to introduce the team, myself, Azzat Sayer, I'm the managing partner of Cloud for Work. And we have also Khalid, our colleague, Khalid Dasuki. He's our bot expert and has a lot of experience in artificial intelligence and deploying bots with multiple clients in the region. So what we have prepared for you today is really an interesting agenda that we will cover in like 30 minutes and then leave 15 minutes for questions. So what are the chatbots and why they are becoming so popular today? What are the HR common use cases? Of course, HR chatbot and Microsoft Teams, why they are better together. We will talk a little bit about the architecture of the chatbot, and of course show you the chatbot in action. So we have prepared a demo to show you, how to access the bot from Teams and how to, how Teams answer your questions and all these things. Now, regarding Q&A, there is a Q&A section that we encourage you to put your question there. Any questions that you have, we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So just remember to, if you want to put any questions, use the Q&A for that. So to start the presentation, I really wanted to kind of define what is a chatbot, because also sometimes it's a common word that is being used, but what is it exactly? So the chatbot is an AI, so it's an artificial intelligence software that can simulate a conversation or a chat with users. And what's important, it's in natural language. So we are using English, Arabic, we are using the language that we speak, and we are asking the chatbot for questions or requests, and we are not using buttons and all that. We are just using natural language. And a chatbot can be accessed through the website, through application, through mobile apps, or through phone. Now, when it comes specifically to HR functions, it's important to kind of highlight what is an HR chatbot. So the first thing that the HR chatbot would do is to automate the high frequency and low judgment tasks. So tasks that are repetitive, that are most of the time the case. How many days leave I have, I need this information, what is the situation about COVID, and so on. So these things that really don't need a judgment and can be handled with automation. What's interesting as well is that an HR chatbot is actually like an HR consultant who is working 24 hours per day, 365 days a year. So it's the HR consultants always available at any point in time. And surveys are showing as well that people today want to check HR information after working hours from the comfort of home, from their mobile device. So it's really becoming a request and a must to have HR consultant working 24/7, 365 days. The HR chatbot can handle thousands of conversations simultaneously. So that's very important. When we have more requests, we don't need more HR resources. We don't need to add people to the team. We can implement a chatbot that will handle thousands of conversations at the same time. Now, why now? That's really important because, chatbots are not new. They've been around for maybe 5-10 years, But why now? That's an important question. So the COVID pandemic has elevated the role of technology in the workplace. So basically now we are, we have Teams, we have other video. We were using maybe Slack, we're using Zoom. We have these systems where we are working through those systems. We are more, the employees are more technology aware. They have a big appetite to use technology and so on. So the COVID kind of accelerated this, and now we are easily talking to technology and using technology. Now, when it comes to use cases today, with all the changes that are happening to the workplace, to the workforce, to what's happening from a pandemic perspective, so HR needs to maintain employees informed about the company decision, about all these things. Like today, we see a lot of communication to the HR. Previously, it could be only for few things, maybe salary increase or some salary requests or things. That today is continuously and daily communication with HR about when are we going back to the office, what is the COVID situation, what are the guidelines when it comes to remote working, and all these things. Of course, also facilitating the new reality of offices. When can we go back to the office? So a lot of questions, a lot of requests are coming to HR, and that makes it really a very interesting timing to deploy a chatbot. 60% cost reduction. So again, a lot of cost-aware situation today. People want to save from anything, anywhere they can. So 60% cost reduction are estimated with the bot. Coming back to the technology, so people today don't care. If they are helped with a chatbot or a real human, doesn't matter, provided they are getting the information, and which also projects to 86% of businesses to use some sort of chatbot by 2022. So what are the HR chatbot common use cases? And this is where 60% is, 60% estimated automation in these fields. So let me just here go quickly through that, but I'm sure you can imagine those, and you can maybe have other things in your company. So company related frequently asked questions, very repetitive, a lot of questions. You have a lot of employees that are asking the same question. They can just ask the bot. COVID related questions, same thing we discussed. So when are we coming back to the office? What is the procedure to do that? How can I take my leave? Can I travel to this country? And all these kind of repetitive questions again. Answering questions from the employee handbook. Again, today they're not in the office where they can just ask anyone around, how is this doing? What we do in this situation? They want to access more. They need. The only way to talk to is, the only person to talk to is HR. All the requests, so leave request, expense request, purchase request, claim request, all these are common use cases again for the HR chatbot. Salary certificate request, reference letter request. These again are requests that are very repetitive and low judgment, so they are just fulfilled by HR. So if we can automate that, that is perfect. Attendance, so clock in, clock out, can also be automated with the bot. The visa renewal. Recruitment is an interesting one. So recruitment, if you publish your chatbot on your website, then you could answer a lot of questions when it comes to recruitment, openings, information related to the job posting and job description and so on. Onboarding and employee training. If you have a new employee today, again, they are joining from a situation where they are working from home with limited interaction with their colleagues. So they need someone to speak to and ask questions, get answers, and all these things. So a chatbot could be also a solution here. Now, when it comes to Microsoft Teams and the HR chatbot, so we have the chatbot. It's ready. Again, it's not something new. It's been around for many years. But what's interesting with Teams? So on the other side, we have Teams. So Teams is the hub for teamwork. As you all know, it's been today used more than 100 million daily users. So it's becoming really the de facto solution for collaboration, communication, working from home, all these things. Now, the chatbot access was always a tricky question in the past. Like, where do I publish my chatbot? Should I publish it on the intranet, on the website? Should I develop a mobile app for it? So it was always this question that was difficult to answer. Now with Microsoft Teams and Together, we have a perfect solution for the end users. So they already have Teams on their laptop, on their desktop, on their iPad, on their mobile devices. They are familiar with it. The chatbot will be added as a channel. So it will be published as a channel inside Teams. So as if I'm chatting to any of my colleagues, I'll be able to chat to the chatbot. So which makes it very easy accessible from mobile devices, from anywhere where I have Teams, I have access to the chatbot. And this is why really Together makes it so easy to end users to use the chatbot and access the chatbot. So with that introduction and setting the scene, I will ask Khaled now to tell us briefly about the architecture of the chatbot. What are the different components, in the chatbot? What is the flow of information? And then take us through the demo of the chatbot. So Khaled, over to you.
Thank you, Azzat. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. So let's start with the architecture of a Teams chatbot. As my colleague Azzad was talking mentioning that the chatbot is going to be, in order to be published in Teams, it will be a Teams app that you add to your organization, and you will communicate with it as if you're communicating with any one of your colleagues or any HR. So all the communication goes from the user through the Teams environment, and then Teams is connected to Azure, Microsoft Azure bot framework that has two entities: the bot service and the bot logic. The bot service is a service that ensure the security and ensure the communication, the right communication between Teams and chatbot organization, chatbot logic. And then there is a chatbot logic where the information is coming, treated by the chatbot, and taking the next best action to it. So in addition to this logic and UX, you have a very important component, which is the AI component that is based on Azure Lewis. So every message is and the AI jargon is considered as an unstructured message. So for example, I want to have a request a letter. So this message will go to Lewis, and Lewis will decide and transform it to structured information to be treated by a computer program. And then there is another important component to be taken into consideration is the integration app of the chatbot. So in order to enhance the automation provided by the chatbot has to be able to communicate with your internal resources. So for example, you have an HR management system, you have an accounting system, you have anything related to the internal database. So the chatbot will be able to communicate, get information from there, and get it back to the user. So the next slide. Okay, so let's start with the flow. When first the user send a message, for example, I want to request, or I want a salary slip, for example. So the user goes to Microsoft Teams, mention the chatbot, and start chatting with them and ask him, I would like to have a salary slip. So the chatbot will take this information and take it to the bot service. It will be received by the bot service, and then the bot logic will take this message and send it to Lewis. So the next slide. Okay, so Lewis is the language understanding part, or the AI part, as I was mentioning, for the chatbot. The Lewis will take this message, that is, I want a salary slip, and transform it to structured information that is capable for a computer program to understand it. For example, if we take the slide which is next, for example, I want to call my HR representative. So Lewis will take this message and reply back that the intent of the user is to get an HR contact, and the entities is to have a call with him. So by getting back or deducing these information from the message like a human person, it will transform it to the intent and the entity, and the intent is HR contact and the entity is a call. So these information are returned back from Lewis to the bot logic, and the bot logic will take the HR contact and the call that are extracted from the message and go get these information in the next slide, and go get these information by using the team's username of the person, for example, Azat. It will take that Azat needs to have the contact for a call for his HR representative. So it will go to your database on the back end using the integration app, get this information, sorry, and reply back to the user with the needed information. So next slide, please. Okay. So here, for example, we repeat the example. I want to have to call my HR representative. Team send the message to the bot service. The bot service get the message to Lewis, and then Lewis reply back by the structured data. The bot logic goes and get these structured the information of these structured data from your backend, and reply back to the user. So please, the next slide. Great. So let's go to the demo of our chatbot.
So Khalid, while you are switching, I just want to remind the attendees that if you have any question, just use the Q&A for it, and we will answer them after the demo actually.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so okay, are you seeing my screen now, Azad?
Yeah, you have to share your desktop.
Okay. Let me open Teams. Okay. I will go to the chat. Great. So are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
Great. So let's have an example here of, for example, someone that is trying to get a letter, for example. So here from Microsoft Team, you are able to communicate with your HR bot. So I want to request, for example, a letter. Great. So the bot will ask you, any special information would you like it to be mentioned in your reference letter? Okay, so I will say yes. Then I will say I would like to have a recommendation letter with my years of experience. Okay, so the bot will ask you to confirm the information that you ask about, and then the bot will take all this information and send it to the person that is responsible for this information. So this HR request letter needs to be validated by one of the superiors of or an HR employee to be sent back to the user. So this information is going to be logged into the HRMS, and then it will be replied back as it was mentioned here in 1 business day. So everything here can be customizable based on your requirements. Another example, for example, I would like to request an expense, for example, an expense of $1,000, for example. And then the bot will reply to state the reason. I want to go to a business trip, for example. And then the bot will ask to confirm the information. And as you can see, the bot here understood directly, extracted from the information that it is, for example, if you look here, I would like to request an expense slip of $1,000. So the bot directly understood that this is a request of an expense and extracted the amount of money needed. So it added directly to the conversation. So it's smart enough to understand and extract information and also send it back to the person that is capable of replying to this information. So another example, I need a salary slip. So this example, for example, doesn't need any validation internally. So you can ask it, and directly you will get access to your salary slip and your portal to download it. So directly you will get the link here, you can click on it, and you are able to get your salary slip. So these are some of the informations or some of the use cases that you can have. All these use cases are already implemented in our chatbot. So the AI of the chatbot is capable of understanding them without any pre-training. So the time to integrate and the time to implement the bot is really reduced because the AI is pre-trained on most of the common use cases that you can have in your organization. So Azat.
Okay, thank you, Khaled, for the demo. And let me go back to the presentation. So here we have next steps that we wanted to share with the audience. So what we have done is to really simplify for you the testing of the chatbot. So because it's published on Teams, it's easy to access. So we will send you a link, and once you click on the link, it will automatically open in your Teams. So it's publicly now accessible from all of the attendees. You click on the link, it will open in your team, and then you can try it yourself. So you can ask the bot the similar scenarios to what we have demoed to you, and then you can try it yourself. Of course, I mean, you can try a few of the scenarios. It needs to be always, the bot needs to be trained, but it's a kind of a good start to have a feel of how it looks on Teams. We are also here to support you in case you need any help during your testing. You can connect with us on this email and mobile device, mobile phone. I think for now let's take start taking the questions that we are getting from the audience, and I will start by the first question that we're getting. So Khaled, you can help answering this one. It's on the chat I'm reading. So everyone writes differently. Some use slang, some abbreviate, while others use formal language. How difficult is it for a chatbot to understand what's being asked?
So this is a very important question, and this here it comes the power of the AI that you already trained. The chatbot doesn't look to messages in the same way that we look to it. So it will not search for keywords. It will search for the grammar, and it transform it to vectors. So if you were able to train the chatbot on examples that takes into consideration the different ways of communication, and here where it comes that you need really a chatbot expert to train your bot, and not to take a really ready-made easy to implement solution 100%, and then you will go and be really will have a lot of problems in understanding the jargon of your organization. So the best way to train the chatbot is, for example, to take historical information from your communication between your HR system and your employees, for example, by through the HR management system or the emails, and transform them to a data set to train the chatbot. And once the chatbot is trained, it will be really, especially because he's so similar, and not saying same, similar. He will get some probabilistic and statistical data in order to be able to answer the different ways of the question. So all it depends on your person that is going to train the chatbot. You have to think of a chatbot like a little child. He has a brain, but you need to help him, to teach him, and let him know how to understand the requirements. So there is no out of the box a chatbot that can be implemented in one day and be able to answer all your questions. You always need to teach him. You always need to to correct him in order to become mature.
Yeah. There is also the fact that we can, during the implementation of the chatbot, help in the training as well.
Yes, this is very important.
So the second question we have, can I use this chatbot to automate other processes in my company?
Yes, for sure. Especially because it's implemented on Teams. So all your employees are going to communicate with the chatbot. So the same chatbot engine and the same chatbot channel is going to can be used for IT, can be used for finance, can be used. So you will have an expert in your company that is capable of answering all these questions related to anything related to your company.
Yeah, I think this is a very recurring question we get, like when we had IT requests, we had HR requests, we had other requests as well. So all can be done here. Yeah. So here another question on the training: can the chatbot be trained by inputting text, like for example the employee handbook?
Yes, sure. And this is very important because there is two parts of AI. The first one that we're using is the first one that we showed you here is when you request something and the chatbot will reply to you. However, you can have for example, your articles, your internal rules, anything related to your knowledge base, and you can feed it to the chatbot, and the chatbot will be able to search them and get back to the user with links to the best articles that reply to the user request. And this is very important, for example, for really changing your FAQ page or changing your help page from being really searching for keywords to having a more interactive way and intelligent way in order for the user, so your employee, to get the information. So the employee is not spending here 10 or 20 minutes to search for his article to get the information. He can only ask the chatbot, and the chatbot will go to your database of articles and get back the most relevant articles or videos for him.
Yeah. Okay, super. I think here we have another question about the infrastructure required and like what infrastructure is required to deploy this chatbot?
So you only need an Azure subscription for bot framework, and a VM for the app. So for the app for integration, and that's all. And if you want to have an app for reporting, because this chatbot has also reporting integrated with it, so you're able to know what are the top questions that were asked, what is the success rate of the chatbot, the failure rate of the chatbot, so you're able to enhance it. So you'll need another app to deploy it. So at max, it will take the bot framework implementation plus Lewis, and then an app for integration and an app for reporting.
Yeah. I think we have another similar question. So what is required to deploy this for an organization? I think you covered that from infrastructure. So licenses, again, Azure, nothing on Microsoft Teams, additional licenses. Efforts and cost, this is a question that we are happy to answer, but we will need some inputs from your side. So please connect with us at connect@Cloud4Work on those details that you see on the screen, because we need to have a little bit more requirements on what you're looking to automate, what is the process, what is the current infrastructure that you have, and all these things, and then we'll be able to give you an estimation of the effort and cost. We have a question about security, Khalid. So how do you manage security with integration with HR systems and ERPs that are on-premise? I think, Khalid, here, if we can talk about the on-premise
Yes.
architecture as well, if they cannot open it to Azure.
Yes, what we can do is what we already do, and we did it with many governmental entities, is to create a dedicated link or dedicated connection between the on-premise and the Azure cloud. Because to be able to have a chatbot on Teams, you should pass by Azure Bot Framework, which is a cloud service. So in order to do the integration with on-premise, what we do is we implement a secure gateway on your on-premise that is only allowed to communicate with the Azure URL of the app, of the integration app, through encrypted communication. So what you will be able to do is only being able to communicate from Azure from your Azure app to your internal communications through a secure, encrypted, and authenticated communication, in order to pull these data. And this is all this information are going to be through a proxy, so you're not exposing your internal resources directly to the outside. And this approach was already implemented and validated with many governmental entities that have a lot of or a high security standard in UAE. So we already did it, and it's implemented, and now it's up and running.
Okay, great. We have another question about language. So is it possible to have language selection and conversation?
Right. So yes, sure. So we support Arabic, we support English, we support French, Chinese, whatever language you want. And you can have a language detection approach. So whenever you ask a question, the chatbot can be automatically able to detect the language and reply with the language of the user. Or you can have buttons at the beginning where you can choose your language and communicate using this language for the subsequently dialogue.
Okay, great. We're getting too many questions, but it's good. We can answer all of them, hopefully. So how does the bot handle any workflows? Does it have a workflow engine or an approval engine?
Yes, it has a workflow engine. It has a configuration also interface to allow you to design your answers on Teams using a drag and drop interface. So sure, you are able to create a dialogue engine. You have a dialogue engine You are able to design it by yourself, or we can help you to do it.
Yeah. There is a question here that I can answer. It says, can I use the HR chatbot on company intranet built on Office 365 SharePoint? Definitely, yes. So this chatbot can be also published on Teams, on your intranet, on your public website. You can also use the same to publish it on WhatsApp, for example, and other channels. So all of these are available with the chatbot. Okay, let me see what we have. Few more left. So we talked about infrastructure. We talked about, okay, there is a question about the maintenance and updates. So does the chatbot require frequent maintenance and updates? Khaled, maybe you can
No, the
take this.
chatbot doesn't require frequent maintenance and update. But what doesn't need is, especially at the beginning, is to monitor a success rate. So by getting back to the first question that we have, it's capable to understand different ways of communication. The chatbot has to adapt to your AI or to your enterprise. So what we do at the beginning is we monitor the success rate, and then we enhance the AI of the chatbot. And then once the chatbot is really mature enough to answer the freely asked questions by the users, nothing is needed there.
Okay, okay. There is a question about, can I deploy the chatbot on my website? Definitely, yes. The cost we said to connect with us so that we can give you an estimation on the cost based on your requirements and environment. I would like to know how many questions can be fed into the HR bot. I think here there is no hard limit to it, provided you have the environment, the infrastructure to scale and to support all these questions. Correct, Khaled, or do you want to add anything on this scalability here?
No, in order to for the scalability is it's a cloud, and as I show it to you here, we can do any scalability. So it's like a SaaS, and it can be connected to on-premise. So it's designed to really reach the maximum that you want.
Okay, we have just two more questions. So can we get a dashboard to see how many requests were answered via the chatbot?
Sorry, Azat, can you repeat the
Yes, the
question?
question was, can we get a dashboard to see how many
Yes.
requests were answered
Yes.
via the bot?
There is a reporting engine that is already implemented with the chatbot, where you can see all the messages that are received per date, per any filter you want, and also what is the success rate, how many questions were successfully answered, and how many questions were not successfully answered, so you are able to enhance the chatbot.
Yeah, I think that's an important question. Again, just to, if you want to have kind of a one-to-one demo to see the dashboard, to see what's behind the scene, statistics, report, all these things, we're happy to organize it for you. So we just contact us again on the email or mobile phone on the screen, and we can arrange for a one-to-one session if you want. Khalid, here I can see the last question we have, unless someone else posts, is about the length. So how long does it need to implement the bot?
This is a very important question. The time to implement the bot can go from 1-2 weeks to really depends on the amount of integration you need. However, one important thing related to our bot and giving us a big competitive edge is that we already trained our bot to a lot of HR use cases. So instead of going to train a training process for the bot, we reduce it to the max. And at the same time, we already have connectors to the most common backend systems of your HR. So instead of building them from zero, you are able to directly hook them to the chatbot. So the time needed really can be very fast, and especially with what we did before. So the experience and what we had here is very important to accelerate the integration of the bot.
Okay, great. So I think with that we don't have more questions, unless maybe now you want to type in your question. What I can say as well that we will share with you the link for the recording, so you can expect that on the LinkedIn event page as well as on email. So you will receive an email from Amit at Cloud4Work, who is following up with the link to the webinar. Also, you will have his contacts in case you want to set up a demo or a one-to-one to yourself or to your colleagues. So we're happy to do that. I think we have just one more question. So how do you gauge a success or a failure rate of a bot? I think Khalid. So how do you gauge a success or a failure of a bot?
When we say success, this means that a user had a request to the bot, and then the bot answered all his questions and he reached the end of the dialogue. So this is a success rate. The failure rate is when the user asks a question and then he doesn't finish the conversation. So here we log this information and we look at it. Sometimes the user asked a question but the bot didn't understand. So the user left the bot, and here we see that this is a failure rate. So we count the times of how much the bot was able to reach the end of the dialogue. So this is a success rate, and how much the times the bot was not able to reach the end of the bot. So this is a failure rate.
I think also the dashboards will give you all the
yes,
the reporting.
The dashboard has all these information, and you can
like
go
how many calls we answered this month, how many calls, or how much we saved time on the HR team. All these things will be there as well.
Who are the users, who are the departments, filter with respect to time, with respect to anything you needed. Really, it's a very complex and not complex, very advanced dashboard that you can have.
There is a question about can we integrate chatbot with Microsoft Dynamics AX?
Yes.
So again, yes, here, no problem with that. What is exactly needed to implement? How to go about it? Prerequisites. So I think to answer this question, we will need to have a one-to-one discussion. So just please connect with us on the email and mobile phone on the screen, because we will scope it again based on your environment requirements. We'll give you all the prerequisites. We also estimate for you the Azure, how much you're gonna consume Azure credits if you want to decide to implement it on Azure. What are the sizes of the servers required if you decide to implement it on premise? So all these things, this is our kind of pre-sale consultants will help you with that. I think we are exactly at 10:45, so this is a good time to close this session. I would like to thank you all for attending. We are getting maybe one or two more questions, but we can take that offline. So thank you all for attending. Thank you, Khalid, as well for your participation. We're looking forward to connecting with you on a one-to-one basis. We are here to support you. And yeah, we're looking forward as well. So we have other webinars coming in as well as planned for December and January. And yeah, keep watching the space and keep coming back to our webinars. Thank you again and have a good day.